Hi everybody! Ever since the Indian Premier League has started, the Indian business ecosystem has been pouring in thousands of crores into sponsorships. But while it's quite normal to see a company like Pepsi or Tata pour in hundreds of crores to sponsor the IPL, in 2020, it was mind-boggling to see that a 12-year-old startup like Dream11 won the bid to sponsor the IPL for an astonishing 222 crores. And since then, Dream11 has become one of the fastest growing sports fantasy platforms in the country with more than 140 million users as of 2021. And guess what? Dream Sports is now valued at $8 billion and is now one of the rare consumer focused startups to actually post a profit. As of 2020, their profit stood at 180.8 crores and the revenue has already crossed 2,000 crores. The question is, what is this Dream11 model? How are they able to generate profits in spite of spending hundreds of crores into marketing? And most importantly, how did this company very cleverly escape the government regulation that could have banned it for being a gambling game? This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions of curious learners come together to take premium classes from famous creators and industry leaders. From marketing to video editing to UI UX design, they have it all. Last time I took a class from Nathaniel Drew on content creation and learned how to determine my individual value as a creator and how to overcome my insecurities. This time, my entire team is actually taking a class from Ellen Lupton. This class taught us to take baby steps into graphic design with 5 basic principles of graphic design, which we'll soon try to incorporate in our marketing materials, Instagram creatives, and maybe even our thumbnails soon. The best part about Skillshare is that it is an ad-free platform and works on a subscription model. This means that just like when you pay for Netflix, you get access to all the shows on the platform. At Skillshare, you get access to thousands of classes all at once. This includes Indian creators like Alicia Souza's illustration class and Ekta Chaudhary's gardening class and a lot more. This subscription will cost you less than 1800 rupees a year, which comes down thoroughly 150 rupees per month. That is lesser than the cost of a Starbucks coffee. For Think Schoolers, Skillshare is giving a 1-month free trial if you use the custom link in the description. This is applicable only for the first 1,000 people, so go ahead, click the link below and explore all the amazing things that Skillshare has to offer. Moving on, let's first try to understand how does the Dream11 model work. Let's say Shubham wants to try his hand on Dream11, and now that it's the IPL season, Shubham is a Chennai Super Kings fan and he's excited about the CSK-MI match. So he selects the CSK-MI match and is given a 100 crore virtual purse to select his team of 11 members. This purse is capped and is the same for everyone who's wanting to play on Dream11. Now obviously, the better the player, the higher will be the amount that Shubham has to pay to get the player into his team. And this is where the strategy comes in. In this case, if Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Rohit Sharma both have a Dream11 price tag of 11.5 crore, although Shubham would want to have both of them in his team, he wouldn't be able to do so because he would be left with very little money to purchase other players. Another catch over here is that Shubham, although a CSK fan, cannot pick all the 11 players from CSK. At max, he can pick 6 members from CSK and a minimum of 5. Meaning, he will either have to select 5 or 6 players from Mumbai also. Now please note this very carefully because it's very important for the discussion ahead. So coming back, the teams have to be logged in before the start of the game. The toss is where Shubham would actually get to know the playing 11 and he would quickly make the changes to his team based on who is in and who has been benched. Now, Shubham enters his team into contests. These contests are a pool of different people who enter the contest with different permutation and combinations of the 22 available players. This contest starts from as low as 10 rupees but could go all the way up to thousands of rupees. Now let's say Shubham, who's a little skeptical, enters the contest with an entry fee of 50 rupees, and just like Shubham, there'll be thousands of players who will enter the contest. Now, Dream11 basically acts as an organizer for these contests such that all of these players are categorized on the basis of the amount and the participants then play the game. So there'll be a 50 rupees contest, a 1000 rupees contest, and so on and so forth. For 50 rupees, let's say the number of participants is 3 lakh and only the top 50% of the participants get a payout. And for this, there's a sliding scale of payouts from rank 1 to rank 1.5 lakh. So the first ranker gets the highest amount and from there onwards, the amount keeps descending. And whether Shubham ends up in the top 50% or not depends on how well the players he chose actually played in the match. And eventually, the number of points his team makes decides how much money Shubham will make. These point systems are preset by Dream11, so you get a different point for a catch, a different point for a wicket, a different point for the number of runs your player scores. And you can see all of these in real time along with your ranking. And from there onwards, you have nothing in your control. All you can do is just wait and hope that your players play well. This is how, based on the choice of players, some Dream 11 members will lose while some will win. If this is very clear to you, let's try to understand how do these fantasy sports companies like Dream 11 actually make money. The answer to this is pretty simple. Roughly 20% of the total amount collected for a contest goes to Dream 11 as commissions. So if the entry fee for a contest is 50 rupees and 3 lakh people enter the contest, then the total money collected amounts to 1.5 crores, out of which 20% is usually Dream 11's cut. So in this case, if 1.5 crore is collected, 30 lakhs by default is Dream 11's cut, and the rest of the amount, that's 1.2 crores, is disbursed to the winners as payouts. So when you as a user enter various contests, you make money in some, you lose money in some. And regardless of whether you make money or not, Dream 11 always walks away with a hefty profit. Now the question over here is, isn't this just like gambling? I mean, even over here, users select a particular player and they do that because they hope that the players will play well. And when they do, these players actually win. And just like in betting, while the money of the players placing the bet is left to chance, the bet organizer wins by default. So if it so obviously looks like gambling to us, and considering the fact that betting is banned in most of the states in India, how is this company operating all across the country, and that too being a sponsor to the biggest sports events in India? The answer to this lies in a Rajasthan High Court case when a man named Chandaresh Shankla filed a complaint with the Rajasthan High Court. And he stated that the public is being defrauded in the name of Dream 11 and that it amounts to gambling and betting and should not be allowed in India. But guess what? The Rajasthan High Court dismissed the petition by relying on the judgments of the Punjab, Haryana and Bombay High Court. The High Court observed while dismissing the petition and stated, and I quote, "It can be safely deduced that the result of the fantasy games is not determined merely by chance or accident. The skill of the participant determines the result of the game and has a predominant influence on the outcome of the fantasy game." This is what the court said. In fact, this was even taken to Supreme Court and the outcome was no different. The petitioners contended that fantasy sports companies like Dream 11 are pure gambling and not games of skill. Now, in order to understand this argument, we first have to decide on the definition of gambling. Gambling is often defined as betting, gaming, or participating in an activity that will be a game of luck and not the sport of skill to win a much bigger amount of money or any other prize by wagering some amount of money. Now, for Dream 11, the defense was that it takes analytical skills, strategy, and historic knowledge about the players before picking them and putting them in a team together. It's not mere chance, and it's not done knowing the outcome of the game. And here's where the feature that we discussed earlier comes into play. You see guys, when you're playing on Dream 11, you aren't betting on one team alone. The 11 players that you select will be in a 5-6 combination, meaning you've got 5 players from one team and you have to pick 6 players from the other team or vice versa. And the argument over here is that with the knowledge of the player's past performance and on the basis of the record in certain games, a judgment is supposedly made by the players of Dream 11. Like Chris Gayle usually gets out very quickly in the finals, or Dhoni plays insanely well at Chennai. So by observing these kind of records, it's argued that the players of Dream 11 are using their skill and knowledge to end up on the winning side. And with this in consideration, the Rajasthan High Court observed that, and I quote, "Whether any particular team in the real world match wins or loses is also immaterial, as the selection of the virtual team by the participant involves choosing players from both teams playing in the real world." And that's exactly what the Supreme Court also stated. This is how the case was closed and Dream 11 was legally safe. But the problem was that from the marketing standpoint, the damage had already been done. Despite the judgment going in their favor, it was still perceived to be a gambling game as soon as this news broke out. In fact, Google Play Store doesn't even host Dream 11 on their platform, and you might have downloaded the app through an APK from the Dream 11 website. This is because the Play Store has strict guidelines on the apps that indulge in gambling directly or indirectly. So now the question is, how did Dream 11 fix this dent to their reputation? Very simple. They roped in the legend Mahendra Singh Dhoni himself, and when Dhoni endorses a particular brand, we all know what is the effect of it. Along with that, Dream 11 also launched a campaign with the tagline "Khelo Dimag Se," very evidently highlighting the need for strategic thinking. This is how Dream 11 got back into the game, and along with Dream 11, Many such sports fantasy companies have jumped into the cricketing craze to make as much money as possible. And the Dream Sports $8 billion valuation makes it quite obvious as to where this industry is heading. Now the question is, should you play Dream 11 or not? Well, people, if you ask me, here's my 2 cents. I don't know if Dream 11 is a game of skill or a game of chance, but what I know for sure is that the amount of time and money that you're pouring into Dream 11, if the same thing is channelized towards acquiring a skill, it is bound to give you way more returns and the probability of getting return increases. And the same thing is what I say about network marketing also. There is no question about whether that is a scam or not. The only point is, when there are far better ways to make more money and that too more calculatively, why do you need a network marketing scheme or a Dream 11 like app to make money? And if you're just doing it for thrill, then that's completely your call. And just like what I say for crypto, only put in as much money as you can afford to lose. So tomorrow if you put in 1,000 rupees and you lose it, it should in no way affect your life or your family's life. If that is clear, then it is pretty much okay to play Dream 11. But if you ask me, I would always go for a skill than going for a fantasy sports app. And before we say goodbye, Think School is now available in Tamil and Telugu. So if your parents or your friends wanted to listen to these business case studies in their own regional language because they were not comfortable with English, do share those channels with them and do support us in our journey to provide world-class education to the grassroots of India. That's all from my side today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.